Hi, welcome back to part 2 of our investigation into Birches Valley. This next segment, for some bizarre reason, was separated from the first segment, so it kind of ended up in 2 files. So this next segment is like 20-something minutes long. Overall, I kind of thought I'd recorded about an hour and 40 minutes, but before my battery ran out. So I think there was like a certain glitch with the recording of this anyway. So what you're going to kind of hear in this recording, I think, is there was a point where when I'm talking in what sounds like a weird kind of foreign language, I haven't been possessed, and I'm not summoning necessarily anything, but the language I kind of use is a couple of phrases in ancient Brittonic language, which was like Celtic, and I'm hoping I kind of just like pronounce stuff right, and it's just a way of me saying, good evening to the forest. I'm still a bit embarrassed about how kind of booming and deep my voice comes out, because I'm literally 2 inches away from the microphone on the handicam. So without further ado, we can jump straight into this next one and see what we see and what we can hear as well.
Oh, okay. No. Guys, do you want to go lights out for a bit and have a bit of a quiet moment up here? Should we go lights out for a bit, guys?
I didn't know whether it could look through the scale at the top when I bumped into each other. Really? There's a tapping, a distinct tapping over to your right over here.
It's really weird, I've gone icy cold.
Yeah, it's a lot cooler, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just generally the temperature, but I just suddenly noticed it.
Yeah, there's a breeze, isn't there?
Yeah.
feel like I'm on the right hand side.
Who's that? I can hear something walking ahead. Not one of us, there's nothing
Light
there.
on. The light. The torch. We'll put the
Can't-
big light on.
I can't see anything through.
Yeah.
No. No.
Sorry, guys.
Over there.
I think I might break the meter out actually, and
We've got what break out?
break out the spiders for Kim. Getting some interesting, like, kind of crunching footstep noises from behind now. I mean, it could be a deer, but
Whispering, like a whispering, but yeah. A bit creaking, but I think that's
the trees, isn't it? Yeah.
the trees rubbing on each other. But then I'm not. It's like, you know, when you see stuff out the side of your eye, like
Yeah.
in the peripheral. Is she going to get me off? But
As I was saying, I think I might break out the meters and just see if there's anything going on up here. Actually, I've got some good wood here to do. I'll do a few wood knocks and stuff.
Me and Kim Coleman very fast. I did, yeah.
It's just a tree. There's a tree banging against another tree over there.
Oh, okay.
That one there, look, see it moving.
It's banging into each other. Oh. I need to get further in this queue.
The wind is picking up there.
Are we not paying you enough attention?
Kim's leaving. She's going to grab Simon. All Kim. This is really nice. Distraction thing, isn't it? Oh, that wasn't a tree. Tell me not to run then.
Yeah, you'll...
Definitely not over there. Where we pointed? Over that way. Did you hear it, or the... Yeah, over here. Yeah. I may have picked it up with a microphone.
Maybe now and again. Huh? Did you hear it?
My can, sorry. Hello?
Kanomnas, Wispras, Degos, Kanomnas. Are you calling up the devil there, or you? No, it's just no, it's just good evening. I can go with good evening. Yeah, I'm good with that. Good with that. Good evening to the spiders of the and the dangly bugs. I know you like dangly bugs. Hey, dangly bugs.
No, we don't want the dangly bugs.
Okay, shall I call it the Wolfman?
Say it again, Gail, because we got a response over this.
Okay, Wispras, Degos, Kanomnas.
You know, just before you said that as well, Gail, something walked towards us, and then when you said it, you turned around and walked back again.
Idosh, Waros, Wispras, Degos. That's good evening to the Wolfman. Oh, jeez, I've been watching werewolf programs as well. Okay, now. Bloody hell, Kim, you get yourself scared before you... Oh, no. I should have not watched that. I've known I've been coming here for ages. I know, yeah.
Not team.
I've seen
No,
someone change
the order.
You see that, you never want to see it again.
Kanomnas. Hern. Hold on, this is a new word here. Hern. Yeah. Herman Hunter. You know Herman Hunter, don't you? Yeah. Herman Hunter? Not Herman Hunter.
The Saxon.
Although Herman Hunter could have been a car from the 1970s. Or was that Herman Hunter? Yeah,
Herman Hunter was a Saxon forest god.
I'm just. Is he a good guy? Fishing. Fishing for gods.
If it's on your YouTube channel, I'll have an album.
Huh? What did I have? No. What was that, Rory?
You see it, Cal?
You just heard something.
You see the lights up there?
No, where are we looking?
Straight at the hill. See the torch lights right at the top?
Yes. Yeah, copy that. Some psychopath.
What is it?
Okay, let's go silent and let me see it soon.
Up there.
Yeah. For 1 minute you're there, then you sit down there.
No, we're staying here now.
Are we up by the campsite?
No.
I hope so.
We're quite a ways from the campsite.
I can see it now, yeah.
Tall.
There. Yeah, it is a bit too tall, and it's going up.
Am I looking that way?
No, I can see
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
That way.
it's like kind of...
Who's got a better light? Marty's got a better light.
I can see it.
I'm just in the trees now.
What's a helicopter?
Yeah,
Can you still see it, Rory?
The helicopter or airplane.
It's going up the tree.
I feel like I'm going to follow through. Shall we?
Do you want to go back to Lisa? Lisa's there.
Yeah, that's good.
Turns out to be a UFO then.
That was not the size of a man. That was going up, wasn't it?
Going up?
Yeah.
It was too tall.
I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Well, this place is well known for its orbs,
Oh, okay.
UFOs and stuff like that.
If it's going up,
And you know what I say, once you see a UFO, you can see a Bigfoot.
It ascended
Oh.
too quick.
It's gone.
Where am I looking?
It's gone. It's behind them trees there.
It was a light.
Yeah, I missed that.
It was too
I
tall
just
to
missed
light
it.
a torch. It was going up.
Maybe you just weren't meant to record it.
I saw it with my...
Yeah, with your own eye, but...
Yeah, you probably are actually. Maybe it's...
not as much as I did see it a little bit.
There's obviously a radio black.
No, this wasn't it just going up like that. Yeah.
Instead of a not a torch. It won't
It looked like a torch light.
up instead of
Yeah, and it was taller than a man. You know how sceptical I am, Lisa. You know.
So guys, that was the end of part 2. And I kind of apologise for a lot of the stupid noises you may have heard in that. Actually, let's just take these off. It's a noise that I've kind of been picking up on these videos, and I'll show you what it is. And, you know, because this is like the first time I've done one of these videos like kind of properly, and kind of there's a few things I can iron out for next time, I think. This is one of them. So this is my hand cam, but it's usually got like something that comes up, it touches on the bottom, and it will kind of come round, and the microphone will come out. So microphone comes out there, and then the torch will come out like that. But the thing I think that was making a lot of noise was, let's just take it off. There's this thing, and you can kind of hear it like jingling around, and I think when it bounces against stuff, it just. So I will do something about this next time. I will find a way of maybe attaching it to there so it doesn't make a noise. Yeah, just a nice little handy cam. You can use it without any other torch, but the infrared torch I got is quite good, and it usually kind of comes out so like that. And another thing I'm going to have to learn to do is not kind of like shout when I'm so close to the microphone, and so possibly I will maybe incorporate a tripod at some point, just so I can move away from the microphone if I'm going to do something. And I didn't get to do my wood knocks either. The area is not kind of massively known for its Bigfoot activity, and that might come as a surprise for people who are into the paranormal, that we're in an area that has had its Bigfoot sightings. This is Staffordshire, not Utah or some faraway place in America and some vast wilderness of Alaska. This is actually Cannock Chase, but it has had its Bigfoot sightings. Anyway, that aside, a couple of inexplicable things happened, I guess. The first one was right at the end of this video, and that was essentially a shape was seen kind of climbing a tree. Not climbing a tree. A shape was seen and a light was seen, and I think it was maybe assumed that it was a guy with a torch. But then the shape seemed to move upwards. Again, it was assumed that it was moving upwards up a tree, and the light went kind of with it. We kind of speculated whether that was a helicopter, but I didn't really kind of pick any sounds up, and we speculated also that it could have been from the campsite, maybe from anybody nearby, but we were at an elevation of 30 meters, so I think we would have had to been looking down rather than up. When after the battery on the cam cord ran out, we exited the forest, and if you kind of refer back to the original map, we exited the forest into an area that was at a clearing, and it was there that we actually saw another light anomaly which we couldn't readily explain away. It was, I don't think it was a shooting star or anything like that. It was definitely up there in the sky, and it wasn't a helicopter, although we saw a plane and perhaps a helicopter, and they both had like alternating lights on them. So that was an interesting kind of end to the evening. I would say overall there's a lot of low-level activity. It did feel like something was building, and what you kind of get with these videos in general, with paranormal investigations, that you can never really appreciate unless you're there, is that there is a sense that sometimes energy is building out as it goes along, and we all have this kind of sense that something's about to happen. And perhaps this is like a psychological thing or a psychosomatic thing. There are other elements of Cannock Chase which do come into play. There are certain areas that have seemingly quite a lot of points of electromagnetism. And we also have areas where we've experienced infrasound, and I didn't really kind of pick up the feeling of infrasound in this forest, but it's not impossible. And infrasound will make you feel as if you're kind of getting paranoid that, you know, there are noises, you might see shapes out of your peripheral vision. And this is all a natural reaction to infrasound. But I'm not aware of there being infrasound. So in my conclusion to the whole investigation, there was a lot of low-level activity. Two interesting things happened. Well, one interesting thing happened between our group, which was a lower group, and the rest of the team, which were higher up in the forest. We both heard separately the sound of a female or a girl laughing, which was interesting because we were in separate groups, and to be able to hear the same thing from two different groups is, I wouldn't say it's completely significant. I didn't hear it, but it's interesting that both groups heard it. The other thing I actually did, and this is like a really poxy experiment. So at the beginning, as we entered into the forest, I placed a watch in a box in some undergrowth, and I took another watch with me as we moved upwards. And one of the things that gets reported from Cannock Chase from time to time is distortion in time. And so it was always interesting for me to have kind of two watches. So essentially, if there was ever any distortion in time, then maybe perhaps I might see a difference in the time between the two watches. And in this particular case, there was probably just under 1 second difference at the beginning of the experiment. And at the end of the experiment, at the end of the investigation, when I collected the other box, checking the two watches in the car, and these are just cheap digital watches, but checking the two watches, there was still just under 1 second difference. So from that, I conclude there was no time distortions at all in the forest. But this is definitely a place that we want to kind of revisit, and I think it's kind of really an interesting area of Cannock Chase for sure. Since the investigation, I have learned from another team member who wasn't able to make it that night that there is some interesting phenomena happening in these forests, in this valley, in Birches Valley. So it's definitely worthwhile going back to these places. And the odd thing is, when I kind of referred to Cannock and to Herne, I believe I've been told that they're one of the same thing. But that Herne is essentially the one that the British, the Celts would kind of refer to, Saxons would refer to, and Cannock is more of it's the same spirit, but I believe it was referred to in France. This is what I was told by one of my team members who's in contact. It's part of his living, that he makes his money through Viking interactions, and he produces like Viking furniture. So he's in touch with people who know ancient history of Britain. So I always do this kind of like little call out on Cannock Chase, just as a way of saying hi to the forest spirits. And it's not necessarily to kind of try and summon anything crazy, and it's not really kind of what I'm into. I'm guessing you do get people who take things like Ouija boards up to the chase and do kind of like tinker with that kind of carry on. But really, honestly, I like to kind of think that we are a team that observes more than we kind of try to create. And if we feel that we're in communication with someone, we might talk back to them, and we might try and speak to them. But most of the time, the forest will let you know that it's there. And the forest it feels very alive, especially at Cannock Chase. And you're dealing with something very, very ancient, and it's very spiritual. There's not a lot else I can really say about this investigation. Generally, this is how most of our investigations go. Sometimes we have a lot more activity, sometimes not so much, but essentially there's a lot of chit chat in between anything actually happening. And even if we get kind of low level stuff, it's usually really interesting and worth noting for next time. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it wasn't too tedious to watch crazy cam footage, because it does kind of go all over the place. And I will try and improve a couple of the issues that I kind of picked up from as a viewer, as you were or are viewing this. I've kind of picked up issues that you might be picking up, so I'll try and kind of iron out a few things. I want to keep it as raw as I can, so that I'm not trying to turn it into a production. This is essentially to kind of put people in that place at that time, and hopefully you can get the vibes that we're getting, as they happen. So, till next time, we are intending to go back to this area. We do have a date planned, and touch wood, as if the weather is with us, if the gods of the forest are with us, then we will certainly be returning before very long in September, and hopefully I'll have another video for you, and I will try my best to kind of improve on what I've produced today. So yeah, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all soon.